They said the girls chosen for the fire did not scream. They said the ancestors took the voice first. Asha learned this on the morning her name was spoken. The rooster crowed 3 times before dawn, the way it always did, the way it had done since Asha could remember. First from old Mama Sefu's compound, then from the chief's yard, then somewhere far off near the river where the reeds grew tall and cut the ankles of careless children. Asha opened her eyes on the second crow. The roof above her was still dark. Smoke stains crawled along the thatch like old scars. A spider had rebuilt its web in the corner again. She watched it for a moment, its legs thin and patient, before swinging her feet down onto the packed earth. Cold rose from the floor into her bones. She wrapped her cloth tighter around her chest and stepped outside. The village of Kijana was waking slowly, as if it had nowhere important to go. Fires were already coughing smoke into the air. Somewhere, a baby cried and was hushed. Mortars thudded as women began pounding grain, the rhythm steady, familiar, like a heartbeat. Asha walked to the water pot and splashed her face. The water smelled faintly of clay. She did this every morning, splash, wipe, breathe. Splash, wipe, breathe. Her mother used to say repetition kept bad spirits away. Do the same things the same way, and the world would not notice you enough to harm you. Asha had believed that once. She lifted the calabash and poured water into a smaller gourd. As she straightened, she noticed movement near the fig tree at the center of the village. Men. Too many men for this early hour. They stood in a loose circle, their voices low. One of them held a staff carved with old symbols, spirals and teeth and eyes. The staff belonged to the Elder of Flames. Asha's stomach tightened. She turned away quickly and carried the water inside. Her aunt, Manalia, was awake now, tying her wrapper with sharp, practiced movements. "You are slow today," Manalia said without looking at her. "The rooster was late," Asha replied. "The rooster is never late," Manalia said. "Only people are." Asha said nothing. She poured the water into the pot and set it on the hearth. The fire caught slowly, licking at the dry wood. Smoke filled the heart, stinging her eyes. Outside, the talking grew louder. Manalia paused. For a moment, her hands stopped moving. Then she finished tying her cloth and cleared her throat. "After you sweep, go to the river," she said. "Wash the clothes. Do not linger." "Yes, Ma." Asha picked up the broom made of stiff grass and stepped back outside. The sun was just beginning to rise, spilling pale light over the red earth. Dust clung to her feet as she swept, pushing yesterday's dirt into neat lines. Sweep, gather, toss. Sweep, gather, toss. She kept her eyes on the ground, but she could feel the men at the fig tree. Their presence pressed against her skin. A shadow fell across her work. Asha. Her heart jumped. She looked up slowly. It was Tano, her childhood friend. His face was tight, his eyes darting toward the fig tree and then back to her. "What is it?" she asked. "Have you been told?" he whispered. "Told what?" He swallowed. "They are calling the girls." Asha laughed, a short sound that surprised even her. "They always call the girls. For dances. For cleaning. For..." "This is different," Tano said. "The Elder of Flames has returned." The broom slipped from her hands. "That is not possible," she said. "He left years ago." "He came back last night," Tano said. "With soldiers." The word soldiers sat heavy between them. Since the white men built their post beyond the hills, soldiers had become part of village life. They marched through sometimes, boots biting into the earth, rifles shining. They spoke laws that felt like stories from another world. Some traditions had been forbidden. Some punishments ended. Some did not. The elder does not fear soldiers, Tono went on. He says the fire is older than their laws. Asha's mouth was dry. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Tono hesitated. Then he leaned closer. Your name, he said softly. I heard your name. The world tilted. No, Asha said. You are lying. I wish I were. Her ears rang. She could no longer hear the motors, the babies, the birds. Only her own breath, loud and uneven. My aunt, she began. Manalia stepped out of the hut behind her. Asha, she said sharply. Come inside. The tone in her voice was wrong. Too tight. Too careful. Asha looked at Tano. He did not meet her eyes. She followed her aunt into the hut. Inside, the air felt smaller. Manalia closed the door and leaned against it, her chest rising and falling. They have chosen, she said. Asha stared at her. You knew, Asha said. Manalia's jaw trembled. The spirits choose. Not us. You knew my name would be spoken. They spoke many names, Manalia said. We prayed yours would not be among them. Asha felt something break open in her chest. The fire, she whispered. Manalia nodded. The offering of first flames was not spoken of openly. Children learned of it in pieces, half-phrases, warnings wrapped in stories. A girl chosen at the turning of seasons. A fire lit at the old shrine. A village spared from famine, sickness, war. They say she does not feel pain, Manalia said quickly. They say the ancestors carry her. They say many things, Asha replied. Silence stretched between them. Then the drum sounded. Once. Twice. 3 times. The call. Manalia reached for Asha's hands. Her palms were rough, familiar. Listen to me, she said. You must be strong. You must not run. Asha pulled her hands away. Why? She asked. Why must I die so others may live? Manalia's eyes filled with tears. Because this is how it has always been. That does not make it right. A sharp slap cut through the air. Manalia's hand fell slowly back to her side. They stared at each other, shocked. Outside, voices called again. Asha of Nuru's blood. Her mother's name. Gone these many years. Asha's legs moved before she decided to move. She stepped past her aunt and out into the light. The village had gathered. Women stood in clusters, hands over mouths. Men formed a line near the shrine path. The elder of flames stood tall despite his age, his staff planted firmly in the earth. Ash marked his forehead. Behind him stood 2 colonial soldiers, rifles slung casually, watching with bored eyes. Asha's breath caught. The elder smiled when he saw her. Child, he said. You are honored. She did not answer. He raised his staff. Tonight, the fire will eat. Tomorrow, the village will be safe. A murmur passed through the crowd. Asha looked around, searching for a face that would stop this. Tono stood at the edge, pale and silent. Manalia wept openly now. Something cold and clear settled inside Asha. She thought of the spider rebuilding its web. Again and again. Patient. Quiet. The elder stepped closer. Come, he said. Asha took 1 step forward. Then another. Then she stopped. No, she said. The word fell like a stone. The murmuring stopped. The elder's smile faded. You do not refuse the ancestors, he said. I refuse, Asha repeated. I will not burn. Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the soldiers straightened slightly. The elder lifted his staff, pointing it at her. Then you refuse the village, he said. And the law older than any man. Asha felt every eye on her. She turned and ran. Shouts erupted. Feet pounded behind her. She ran past huts, past the fig tree, past the place where she had played as a child. Dust filled her mouth. Her lungs burned. She did not look back. She did not see the elder raise his staff again. She did not hear him speak the words that would follow her beyond the village. By the time she reached the tree line, the sun was fully risen. And behind her, the drums began to change their rhythm. Asha did not yet know that by running, she had broken a law written not by elders, but by blood, fire, and the dead. Asha did not stop running until the trees swallowed her. The forest beyond Kijana was older than the village, older than the road the soldiers used, older even than the stories the elders told by firelight. The air changed as soon as she crossed the line of trees. It grew cooler, heavier. The smell of dust gave way to damp earth, crushed leaves, rot. She slowed only when her chest felt like it would tear open. She bent forward, hands on her knees, gasping. Her throat burned. Sweat ran down her back, soaking the cloth tied around her waist. For a long moment, she listened. No shouts. No footsteps. Only insects humming, birds calling to one another in short, sharp cries. She straightened slowly. The forest stood still around her, tall trunks rising like watchful elders. Roots pushed up through the soil, twisting and thick, as if something beneath the ground had tried to claw its way out and failed. Asha hugged herself. She had never been allowed this deep into the forest alone. Children were warned early. Do not wander where the ground stays wet. Do not follow paths you did not make. Do not answer if you hear your name. She took one careful step forward. Then another. The village noises faded quickly. Too quickly. Within minutes, it felt as if Kijana had never existed at all. Asha wiped her face with the edge of her cloth. Her hands were shaking. Think, she told herself. Think like Mo used to. Her mother had always planned before acting. Even when she was sick, even when she knew she was dying, she had planned. She had told Asha where the grain was stored, which neighbor could be trusted, which could not. She had spoken calmly, repeating instructions twice, as if repetition could keep death away. First, water. Second, shelter. Third, do not be seen. Asha listened for running water. At first there was nothing. Then, faint but steady, a low gurgle to her left. She followed the sound. The stream was narrow, its banks muddy and sleek. Water slid over stones, clear enough to show tiny fish darting between shadows. Asha knelt and drank, cupping her hands carefully the way she had been taught. She drank slowly, stopping twice to breathe. When she finished, she rinsed her face and arms. The water was cold. It helped her think. She sat back on her heels and looked at her reflection trembling in the stream. Her eyes looked too large in her face. Her mouth was pressed tight. I am not dying, she whispered. The forest did not answer. She stood and moved away from the stream, careful to step on stones where she could, remembering another lesson. Do not leave clear footprints. As the sun climbed higher, the forest grew louder. Cicadas screamed. Birds argued overhead. Something large moved in the undergrowth once, cracking a branch. Asha froze until the sound passed. By midday, her legs ached. Hunger gnawed at her belly. She found a fallen tree and sat, pressing her back against its rough bark. She reached into the small pouch tied at her waist. Inside were three things: a flint, a dried strip of cassava, and a thin leather cord her mother had once braided for her hair. She ate the cassava slowly, chewing until her jaw hurt, forcing herself not to rush. She saved the last bite, folding it back into the pouch. The air shifted. Asha noticed it first on her skin. The hairs on her arms lifted. The forest sounds dipped, then returned, wrong somehow. Closer. Sharper. She stood. That was when she heard it. Footsteps. Not the light, uneven steps of an animal. Human. She backed away from the fallen tree, heart pounding. She moved toward thicker brush, stepping carefully, silently. The footsteps grew louder. Asha, a voice called. She stopped breathing. It was a woman's voice. Soft. Familiar. Asha, child. Her mother's voice. Her knees nearly buckled. No, she whispered. The stories rushed back to her all at once. The warnings she had half believed as a child. The forest borrows voices. It wears faces it has eaten. Asha, the voice called again, closer now. You are tired. Come. She clenched her fists, nails biting into her palms. My mother is dead, she said aloud, forcing the words into the air. She does not walk. Silence fell. Then the voice sighed. So you remember, it said, but now the tone was wrong. Too flat. Too slow. Asha turned and ran. Branches tore at her arms. Thorns caught her cloth. She did not stop. She did not look back. Something laughed behind her. It was not loud. It did not chase her. It simply laughed, as if amused. When Asha finally stumbled into a clearing, she collapsed. She lay on her side, chest heaving, eyes squeezed shut. The ground beneath her was dry and warm. Sunlight filtered down through a break in the canopy. After a long time, she opened her eyes. The clearing was small, almost circular. At its center stood a stone shrine. Asha pushed herself up slowly. The shrine was old. Older than the one in Kijana. Stones stacked without mortar, darkened by smoke and age. Carved symbols crawled across them, spirals, eyes, teeth. The same symbols on the elder's staff. Her stomach turned. No, she murmured. She backed away, but her heel struck something solid. She looked down. A ring of ash circled the shrine. Fresh. Asha's breath caught. Someone had been here recently. She scanned the clearing. Nothing moved. No people. No animals. Only the shrine. And then she saw it. At the base of the stones lay something pale. Bones. Small. Too small. Asha covered her mouth, bile rising in her throat. She stumbled back again, and felt something brush her ankle. She screamed and spun around. A man stood at the edge of the clearing. He was tall, thin, wrapped in a travel-stained cloak. His hair was streaked with gray, his face lined and sharp. In his hands, he held a rifle. A colonial soldier. Easy, he said quickly, lifting one hand. I won't shoot. Asha stared at him, trembling. You ran far, he said. Farther than I expected. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. He studied her, eyes flicking to the shrine, the bones, the ash. So it's true, he murmured. They still do this. Please, Asha croaked. Don't take me back. The soldier sighed. I'm not here for you, he said. Not exactly. He lowered the rifle and leaned it against a tree. My name is Halan, he said. I was sent to stop illegal practices. Illegal. The word struck her like a slap. They said the law doesn't touch the fire, Asha whispered. Halan's jaw tightened. They lied. He looked at her seriously now. Running was a crime, he said. But letting you burn would have been worse. Her head spun. What happens now? She asked. Before he could answer, a low horn sounded in the distance. Harlan stiffened. That's not mine, he muttered. Another horn answered it. Closer. The forest seemed to lean inward. Harlan grabbed his rifle. They're hunting, he said. Not you. Me. Asha's heart slammed against her ribs. Hunting, she echoed. Harlan met her eyes. The Elder of Flames doesn't like interference, he said. And he never works alone. The bushes rustled at the edge of the clearing. Figures began to emerge, men wrapped in dark cloth, ash smeared on their skin, eyes bright and unblinking. Asha recognized some of them. Men from her village. Among them, Tano. He did not look at her. The horn sounded again. And this time, it was behind them. The horn's cry hung in the air, low and shaking, like something wounded. Asha's body moved before her thoughts caught up. She grabbed Harlan's sleeve. They'll kill you. Harlan did not answer. His eyes were fixed on the ring of men closing the clearing. He lifted his rifle, then paused, as if weighing something heavier than the weapon in his hands. The men stopped just beyond the ash circle. They did not rush forward. They did not shout. They waited. Asha's heart pounded so hard she thought they must hear it. The Elder of Flames stepped out from between two trees. He looked unchanged by the forest, as if it had bent itself around him. Ash still marked his forehead. His staff tapped softly against the ground as he walked. You ran quickly for one so small, he said, his voice calm. And you choose strange allies. Harlan shifted his stance. This ends here, old man. The law. The law, the Elder interrupted gently, does not live in your papers. He lifted his staff and pointed it at the shrine. This place remembers, he said. This fire remembers. Asha swallowed. Let her go, Harlan said. The administration will hear of this. A murmur rippled through the men. Some shifted uneasily. Others smiled. The Elder's eyes flicked to Asha. She has already crossed the line, he said. She stepped into sacred ground. She ran when chosen. She broke the old bond. He turned to the men. Bring her. Tano took one step forward. Asha's chest tightened. Tano. He flinched at the sound of her voice but did not stop. She must come back, he said quietly, not meeting her eyes. If she doesn't, it will be worse. For who? She asked. For everyone. Harlan raised his rifle. Stop, he warned. The Elder smiled again. You will not shoot. You know this. Harlan's finger trembled on the trigger. Asha saw the truth settle on his face. If he fired, he would be alone. Deep in the forest. Surrounded. He lowered the rifle slowly. Asha felt something cold spread through her. The men moved forward. Run, Harlan whispered urgently. When I say. The Elder lifted his staff. Now, Harlan shouted. He fired into the air. The sound cracked through the clearing. Birds exploded from the trees. The men cried out, startled. Harlan grabbed Asha's arm and pulled her backward, away from the shrine. They ran. Branches lashed at them. Roots caught at their feet. Behind them, shouting rose, sharp and angry. They know this forest better than I do, Harlan said between breaths. We won't outrun them. Then what? Asha gasped. He veered suddenly to the right, toward a slope thick with vines. We hide, he said. They slid down the incline, mud soaking their legs. Harlan shoved her into a hollow beneath a tangle of roots. He followed, dragging leaves and branches over the opening. Do not move, he whispered. Do not breathe loud. They crouched together in darkness. Asha pressed her hand over her mouth. Footsteps passed above them. Voices murmured. She went this way. No, toward the stream. Split. Asha's muscles screamed as she held still. Sweat trickled down her spine. A shadow crossed the opening. Someone paused. Asha felt Harlan's body tense beside her. Then the shadow moved on. Minutes passed. Or hours. She could not tell. Finally, the forest sounds began to return. Harlan exhaled slowly. We can't go back, Asha whispered. No, he agreed. But we can't stay either. He studied her face in the dim light. You don't understand what you stepped into, he said. Then tell me, she replied. He hesitated. The offering of fast flames, he said. It was outlawed years ago. Declared murder. Asha closed her eyes. They said the law didn't reach us. The law reached, Harlan said quietly. But the elders hid it. Bribed officials. Claimed the tradition had ended. And if it doesn't? Asha asked. Harlan's voice was grim. Then the village burns. Not by fire. By punishment. Asha thought of Manolia. Of the women at the well. Of children chasing goats through dust. They will blame me, she said. They already do. They waited until nightfall to move. The forest changed after sunset. Sounds grew closer, heavier. Shadows pressed in. They traveled slowly, following a faint path Harlan said led toward the old colonial road. Asha stumbled often, exhaustion dragging at her limbs. At one point, she felt dizzy and had to stop. Harlan gave her water from his canteen. We are almost there. They were not. The chanting began just before dawn. Low voices rising and falling in unison. Asha froze. They found us, she whispered. Harlan listened, face pale. No, he said slowly. They're not chasing. The chanting grew louder. They are preparing, he said. For what? He looked at her. For the fire. Asha's knees buckled. They don't have me, she said. They can't. Harlan shook his head. They don't need you anymore. Her blood ran cold. What do you mean? They'll replace you, he said. Or they'll call you back another way. As if summoned, a wind swept through the trees. It carried a smell. Smoke. Asha felt it then, a pull deep in her chest. Like a rope tightening around her heart, tugging her backward. She cried out and fell to her knees. Harlan grabbed her shoulders. Fight it. I can't, she gasped. It's calling me. The ground beneath her felt warm. Too warm. The chanting rose to a scream. And far away, in the direction of Kijana, the sky began to glow red. The fire had been lit. And it was calling Asha home.